Hi there. In this video we are attempting to repair this washing machine. I think it's more than 10 years old, by replacing these four capacitors right here. Basically we checked everything, all the valves, solenoids, and everything is working, no damage to wires, no nothing, but it just hangs randomly during the washing cycle. It doesn't have a logic to it. So when stuff like this happens and you cannot pinpoint to any sense of if it's simply not putting water in, then probably these things are, or the wires going to them, stuff like that. But if everything else seems to be working and it just weirdly sometimes hangs, what I always do, I try to change the capacitors. They are that cheap that honestly it's worth a try. But for me they are actually free because I have them from other electronic boards that I save over time. So I will replace them and see if we can save this thing, because we don't really need to buy a new one if we can save it, as we always do on this channel. I'm not going to show you how to disassemble it. It's a Romanian made model. Chances are that nobody watching this video will have this exact one, so yeah, disassembling, it's up to you. But if nothing seems wrong, get to the capacitors and replace them. Yeah, and make sure you are careful, because at least this one, for example, it's 450 volts. I think this one gets mains into it, so mains voltage. So this could zap you quite badly, and yes, you might see a bit of darkened area in there. No, that is not blown. So the dark area was also in here, but it's not overheated or burned or anything. I think what happens sometimes, just static gathers particles from the air. That's my only logic, because I've seen this in other washing machine electronics and they basically were not blown either. So yeah, let me replace this and get back to you. Replaced the capacitors, only these three in the end. I couldn't find a replacement for this one, but in theory we talked to somebody and his opinion was that if this one would be faulty, nothing would actually work. But if it just randomly stops doing programs, but you can select programs, can do whatever, but it just randomly stops, he thinks that most likely these ones are to blame, not the big one. So in the end we left the big one in place. Again, couldn't find a replacement. Maybe in the future we will also replace that one, but replaced these three, resoldered the legs on the big one just to be sure. Not a really beautiful solder job, but anyway, should be enough. And cleaned that area, and this thing actually heats up. As you can see, it burns up particles and deposits a bit of I don't know, some black dust, I don't know, burnt particles, whatever, onto what's above it. So this is the culprit, because this stays like that. So everything in here is above that resistor that gets hot. So this is not blown for sure. And yeah, cleaned everything up, install this and hope for the best. And if you don't know how to replace capacitors, maybe it's better to get it to a friend that actually knows how to solder and replace them. Or I will try to link a tutorial. I think I have one where I show you how to replace capacitors on motherboards. Should be valid for this one also. Use the same microfarad value. For example, we had 47 in here, we also replaced with 47, but the voltage on the new ones that you put in can be higher than on the old ones. I think it was 50 volts on the old ones and we used with 63 because this is what we got. This one was 470 microfarads at 10 volts, and we put in one that's 470 at 16 volts. So even this one has a bit higher voltage. Higher voltage is okay. Microfarads, it's what you need to make sure it's identical or really close, maybe 5% off or something like that. Anyway, so let's put this in and hope it works normally now. Board is back in place, connected everything, as you can see. Usually this thing has some screws in the back, and you slide it like that and then lift it when you want to open it up, and this thing most times comes like this out, but again depends a lot on the model, so that's up to you to see how you get the board out of there. For the moment seems to be running just fine. We will use it for the next days and weeks, and I will get back to you, but at least we didn't break it more than it was already broken.